Ladies and gentlemen, a very good day to you all and a very warm welcome to Government House, Yarralumla. My name is Mark Fraser. I'm the Governor-General's Official Secretary. As my neck order signifies with its cross quills, I also serve as Secretary of the Council for the Order of Australia. The Council, of course, recommends appointments and awards in the Order's General Division to the Governor-General, who is Chancellor of the Order of Australia and Principal Knight of the Order. I am also the Secretary of the Australian Bravery Decorations Council, the body which makes recommendations to the Governor-General on bravery awards. I would particularly like to acknowledge among our distinguished guests this afternoon, Mr Craig Kelly, representing the Prime Minister, Senator Deborah O'Neill, representing the Leader of the Opposition, Lieutenant General Angus Campbell, representing the Chief of the Defence Force, Commodore Michelle Miller, representing the Chief of Navy, Air Vice Marshal Lee Gordon, representing the Chief of Air Force, Air Chief Marshal Sir Angus Houston, Chair of the Council for the Order of Australia, Mr Mark Brown, representing the Commissioner of ACT Emergency Services, Mr Philip Flood, President of the Order of Australia Association, Mr Bruce Truatha, Chairman of the ACT branch of the Order of Australia Association, Mrs Melanie Warburton, representing the National President of the Australian Bravery Association, and Mr Mark Hoskinson, National President of the Bravery Institute of Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, today is a special day, not only for recipients, but for their families, friends, and for the whole community. It's a day when we celebrate a diverse range of impressive achievement and service. As staff at Government House, my colleagues and I feel very privileged to play a small part in the recognition and celebration of that achievement. We hope that we can make today an occasion that you will all recall with pride for a long time to come. Shortly, I'll invite you to stand as their Excellencies enter the room. Please remain standing for the singing of the first verse of the National Anthem. You're all very welcome to join in. Words are on page 3 of your program. The investiture will then begin and proceed in the order listed in your programs. Once I read their names and citations, recipients will enter the room from the doorway on my right, and after they have been invested, they will leave through the centre aisle in the audience and to take seats at the back of the room. At this point, you might like to show your appreciation with some short applause as recipients leave the room. At the conclusion of today's investiture ceremony, the Governor-General will then address everyone gathered, and we'll then invite an official photograph on the state entrance steps with all recipients and their Excellencies. Could I ask that other guests remain seated for a short while whilst that official photograph takes place and before we move for refreshments on the lakeside lawn. Just a reminder, please no photographs during the ceremony itself. We have an official photographer here today, and also we are broadcasting and that will be available in perpetuity on our website. You are very welcome to use your cameras at the reception following today's ceremony. Please relax and enjoy this special occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand for the arrival of their Excellencies, the Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia and Lady Cosgrove.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and a wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you. Please be seated. Your Excellency, to be presented with the insignia of her appointment as a companion in the General Division, the Honourable Anna Bligh. For eminent service to the Parliament of Queensland, particularly as Premier, to infrastructure development and education reform, as an advocate for the role of women in public life, and to the not-for-profit sector. Ms Bligh has excelled in all her endeavours on behalf of our nation. She has showed compassion, strength and leadership throughout her distinguished career. She's a trailblazer and achieved a unique milestone by becoming the first woman elected in her own right as Premier of an Australian state in the 2009 election. Ms Bligh led the Queensland Government's response to the 2011 floods with a calm demeanour and quiet authority, resolute in her determination that although we've been knocked down, we will get back up. Ms Bligh is an inspiration to us all. The Honourable Anna Bligh appointed a companion of the Order. I don't think the microphone's on. To be appointed a companion in the General Division, the Honourable Justice Stephen Gageler. For eminent service to the law and to the judiciary through contributions in the areas of constitutional, public, international, common and criminal law, to legal reform, education and academic discourse, and to professional organisations. Justice Gageler's achievements and contributions to law and to the judiciary have been extraordinary. As Solicitor General, he provided sage advice on a wide range of Commonwealth policy initiatives and significant constitutional matters. His subsequent appointment to the High Court of Australia is testament to his superb service to the legal profession. He is universally held in the highest regard across the profession, not just for his legal skills and his prodigious intellect, but for the exemplary manner in which he communicates with everyone he meets. Justice Gageler continues to make an enormous contribution to the law and the administration of justice and is a truly remarkable Australian. The Honourable Justice Stephen Gageler appointed a companion of the Order. Appointed a companion in the General Division, the Honourable Dr. David Kemp. For eminent service to the Parliament of Australia, notably in the areas of employment, education, training and youth affairs, to the environment, to institutional reform and public policy development, and to the community. Dr. Kemp is a distinguished figure in the Australian political landscape. His political judgment, honed by years in government, and his calm but firm demeanour have led him through numerous ministerial portfolio successes. As a Member of Parliament, he ably and energetically represented the wide-ranging interests of the Goldstein electorate for 14 years, and as an academic, he's made vital contributions to political discourse and public policy. Even in his retirement from the Parliament, Dr. Kemp has continued to demonstrate a sincere engagement with community needs and is most deserving of our acknowledgement. The Honourable Dr. David Kemp, appointed a Companion of the Order. Your Excellency, appointed a Companion in the General Division, Dr. Michael Spence. For eminent service to leadership of the tertiary education sector, to the advancement of equitable access to educational opportunities, to developing strategic programs focused on multidisciplinary research, and to the Anglican Church of Australia. Dr. Spence is an outstanding Australian whose record of academic leadership has won international renown. As Vice-Chancellor, he has led one of the country's finest educational institutions with integrity, commitment and a drive towards innovation. He has championed the development of multidisciplinary centres and has made an extraordinary contribution to substantially improving the education and research outcomes of the University of Sydney. Dr. Spence has continued to combine a highly successful career in tertiary education with voluntary support for his community by remaining true to his calling as an Anglican priest. His dedication and continuing work has greatly enriched our nation. Dr. Michael Spence, appointed a Companion of the Order.
Good afternoon. How are you going? Well, I can hear it. I can hear now. They can hear me now loudly. Yeah. Well done. Now, not only have you been Vice-Chancellor of one of the world's great universities for now a number of years, 9 years, but in addition, I think you were Chairman of the Group of 8 last year, weren't you? And in addition, you spent years and years of study and service at Oxford. So, and then in amongst that, you were ordained as an Anglican priest in 2007. In your ministry, are you able to perform as a priest, or are your university duties all-encompassing?
A little both. So
Yeah.
I fill in the church, but it gives me a great platform for thinking about what it means to run a university ethically.
Well, there you are, and I think we see you as not only a hugely talented man and leader, but an absolute polymath.
Great.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Appointed a Companion in the General Division, Her Excellency Professor the Honourable Kate Warner, for eminent service to the people of Tasmania through leading contributions to the legal community, particularly to law reform, to higher education as an academic, researcher and publisher, and as a supporter of the arts and environmental and social justice initiatives. Her Excellency is a unique and inspirational Australian who has committed herself to the community of Tasmania over many years. She's widely respected for her infectious enthusiasm and exceptional contributions to the law. She has always been genuinely interested in her students, and it's no exaggeration to say that she's taught over half Tasmania's lawyers. Additionally, she's championed a range of charitable organisations and actively encourages others to recognise the importance of giving back to our nation. The vision, outstanding leadership and energy with which Her Excellency brings the office of Governor of Tasmania is evident to all and makes her most deserving of our nation's highest recognition and gratitude. Her Excellency Professor the Honourable Kate Warner, appointed a Companion of the Order.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Here we are. I found it very interesting that you were the founder of the Tasmanian Law Reform Institute and you were involved with that for many years, right up until the time when you became Governor, and you've also been a huge contributor to the broader topic of law reform across the Commonwealth. So in that regard, you come from not only helping to create new generations of lawyers, but also to have the law itself put under that healthy microscope we enjoy in Australia. And we all know that you've been a wonderfully active and very responsible Governor of your state. And not only is Tasmania proud of you, but Australia's lucky to have you. So congratulations, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appointed an officer in the General Division, Mr John Borghetti, for distinguished service to the Australian aviation industry, to the development of national and international tourism opportunities, and as a supporter of the arts and sport. Mr Borghetti's selfless commitment to building and shaping many important aspects of Australia's aviation industry has been exemplary. His passion to deliver the very best product and customer experience has resulted in significant increases in Australian domestic and international air travel, benefiting both tourism and the economy. Mr Borghetti has also contributed to the community through roles fostering international aid and promoting the Australian arts industry. He can legitimately be regarded as a fine example of the best of who we are. Mr John Borghetti, appointed an Officer of the Order.
Just stand there, John, and face me. There you go. Thanks. Congratulations. Now, John, I'll go through the non-aviation stuff as far as I can recall. The Chamber Orchestra.
Yeah, Australian Chamber Orchestra.
Yes, that's right. And the Australian Ballet.
Australian Ballet.
And the Sydney Swans.
Close. No, not quite. Sydney Football Club.
Oh, the Swans. I'll have to get onto the biographers. Yeah, I thought, what are you doing with that other sport, eh?
Oh, well, we'll get involved in the Swans too.
But the Sydney Football Club's not too bad, is it? Yeah. But particularly on the aviation side, you, of course, had a huge and very important career with Qantas and one of the key people there when I was on the board. And then you went and basically started up Virgin as being this enormously competitive and very fine airline, which it is today. And that is on the sweat of your brow and, of course, the talent that you showed. So as an eminent businessman and a person who supports the arts and sport, you are a very admirable Australian and a worthy recipient of this award. Well done, John Borghetti.
Appointed an Officer in the General Division, Professor Greg Craven, for distinguished service to tertiary education through leadership and representational roles with a range of institutions, to the Catholic Church in Australia and to constitutional law. Professor Craven is an exceptional education leader and visionary. He's made significant contributions to advancing higher education in Australia while serving the Catholic Church and exemplifying his commitment to the mission of the Australian Catholic University. His talents, both academic and professional, are multifaceted, and his dedication is to be commended. He has the highest ethical standards, and he gives his time and talents to many causes, and he's always prepared to take on the difficult tasks. Professor Craven's track record of achievement, the highest levels, make him most deserving of our nation's recognition. Professor Greg Craven, appointed an Officer of the Order.
Hello, Greg. Well, I know this gentleman very well. I was his Chancellor for a few years, and it's not actually for putting up with me that he gets this. It's wholly because of the sorts of things that were announced in the reading of the citation. But you were not only still the the Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, I should say, of ACU, but you were the Vice Chancellor of Curtin. Yeah, Deputy Vice Chancellor there. Oh, they missed out, didn't they? But then you were also the founding Dean of the Notre Dame Law Faculty. Yeah. And indeed, you are a very active and effective member of Universities Australia. You perform all kinds of functions for them. And you're a very prolific op-ed writer, and everybody on the days when you contribute skips over the sport, skips over the business. Even the news gets short shrift as they go to your op-ed column. Well done and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Appointed a member in the General Division, Dr. Ian Dunlop, for significant service to ophthalmology, particularly through executive roles with professional medical organisations and as a practitioner. Dr. Dunlop has served the people of Australia and the Asia-Pacific region through a life of distinction and of inspirational service in the field of ophthalmology. His dedicated involvement in the governance of bodies delivering infrastructure for the profession has provided another platform for his dynamic energy. He's voluntarily served at the helm of several medical organisations in a variety of capacities. Dr. Dunlop's contributions deserve our nation's gratitude and recognition within the Order of Australia. Dr. Ian Dunlop, appointed a member of the Order.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Now, you've been chair of the Royal Australian and New Zealand College of Ophthalmologists for the last couple of years. And are you chair of the AMA board?
Yes.
That's nationally.
Yes.
And you're also active, of course, in the ACT branch of the AMA. So not only are you a profound medical expert, but you contribute at that pinnacle of leadership of the profession in Australia, and therefore you're a worthy recipient of this award. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Appointed a member in the General Division, Mr. Peter Garrison, for significant service to the law, to the legal profession and to public administration in the Australian Capital Territory. Mr. Garrison is committed to delivering outstanding service to the ACT government and its agencies. The quality of his advice and legal advocacy have earned him the trust and confidence of staff, colleagues and ministers. He exemplifies the key competencies expected of a senior public officer. He's open, inclusive, and draws on his broad experience to positively influence those around him. Mr. Garrison's tireless efforts, vision and aspiration, fuelled by his bountiful energy, make him a very worthy recipient. Mr. Peter Garrison, appointed a member of the Order.
Good afternoon.
Excellency.
You started way back in 1981 down in Melbourne, didn't you?
I did.
And then till 95, and then you probably came up this way, did you?
Yes.
And were you the chief solicitor of the ACT for a while there?
I was.
And now you're the Solicitor General.
I am.
You're having an eminent career, aren't you?
I'm enjoying it immensely.
Well, I think the ACT is lucky to have you, and you've been rightly recognised in this way. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Appointed a member in the General Division, Mr David Stanton, for significant service to public administration, to social policy development and as an academic. Mr Stanton has been a pioneer in the development of evidence-based social policy in Australia. Without doubt, he's one of the very top practitioners in this complex field. He's been an outstanding manager and social researcher, as well as a trusted policy advisor to a long succession of coalition and Labor ministers. Mr Stanton has had a tremendous impact on the well-being of the community and has gone far beyond the call of duty to achieve as much as he has. Mr David Stanton, appointed a member of the Order.
Good afternoon. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Now, you started with the Australian Bureau of Statistics in 1966 as a cadet, and that went till 71. That's a long cadetship. Yeah, really. But you flourished since then. Now you're I think, an honorary professor and a visiting fellow at the School of Public Administration, Crawford School.
Crawford School.
It is a wonderful school, and they're lucky to have you, and so are we. Well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Appointed a member in the Military Division, Air Commodore Adam Brown, for exceptional service in major organisational reform, aerospace acquisition and sustainment. Air Commodore Brown is an exceptional senior officer and engineer who has made a remarkable contribution in demanding circumstances. Through his tireless efforts, he has delivered improved support structures and business processes in support of defence capability. His major organisational reforms and significant improvements in aerospace acquisition and sustainment have delivered a raft of benefits for the Australian Defence Force that will endure for decades. Air Commodore Adam Brown, appointed a member of the Order.
Good afternoon, how are you? Now, you did a couple of Director General jobs in various capacities at Air Force Headquarters, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. But in particular, the one I think I'd like to highlight for all those others here today was your pivotal role in the decision to field and then to acquire the P-8 Poseidon aircraft, which is the brand new, highly capable maritime surveillance aircraft that the ADF's acquiring to replace the venerable but now ageing P3 Orions. So that's been, if you like, a signature of the second half of your career, and you're rightly rewarded here.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Appointed a member in the Military Division, Air Commodore Anthony Forrester, for exceptional service in air power education, capability development and military strategy. Air Commodore Forrester is a senior officer of rare skill and ability who has made an exceptional contribution to the Australian Defence Force for over a decade. His superior strategic appreciation have delivered a range of enduring benefits for defence in air power education, air combat capability development, military strategy, and through the development of the 2016 Defence White Paper. Air Commodore Forrester's superior accomplishments have been in the finest traditions of the Australian Defence Force. Air Commodore Anthony Forrester, appointed a member of the Order.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you very
You joined the Royal Australian Air Force in 1979?
I did.
You've been around a while. But in particular, you were there to help the Air Force define its need for a thing we call the Growler aircraft, which is an electronic countermeasures aircraft that will protect our combat fleet as they fly off into danger. And that's been a mighty acquisition. And I think you also had quite a significant role in the acquisition of the Joint Strike Fighter. So even though you've been in the Air Force a very long time, you've also helped this Air Force to modernise to where it is now one of the finest Air Forces in the world. You know, a lot of credit to you. Well done.
Thanks.
Appointed a member in the Military Division, Group Captain Craig Megan, for exceptional service in the fields of military aviation and joint operations. Group Captain Megan has distinguished himself in a range of appointments throughout a sustained period of conspicuous service. He's undertaken challenging roles at Air Force Headquarters and Border Protection Command and skillfully served on a range of operations at home and abroad. Group Captain Megan is an exceptional senior officer whose remarkable devotion to duty has made a lasting contribution and has significantly enhanced defence capability now and well into the future. Group Captain Craig Megan, appointed a member of the Order.
Good afternoon, Craig. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Well done. Well, your CV reads just a succession, almost a complete set of operations involving the ADF where air power has been a particularly important aspect of it. The list goes on and on. But you are also very important in the uninhabited aerial system, the Heron. And this is a drone that helps keep our men and women safe. It's a pilotless aircraft that we use on operations all the time, and you are important in the fielding of that capability. But in particular now, you're serving in a very responsible and senior post in Border Protection Command, the first Air Force officer to fill this particular billet. So you're obviously a high flyer, no pun intended, and you're but you're obviously very important to your service and thus to Australia. Well done.
Appointed a member in the Military Division, Air Commodore Philip Toman, for exceptional service in the fields of technical management, acquisition and sustainment. Air Commodore Toman has made a most exceptional and enduring contribution to the Australian Defence Force through his management and stewardship of Air Force's technical workforce and his conspicuous support of the Airbus KC-30A aircraft. Through exceptional acumen and leadership, he successfully overcame long-term impediments to conclude the in-service support contracts for the E-7A Wedgetail aircraft. Air Commodore Toman's fortitude, engineering prowess and devotion to duty have been in the finest traditions of the Royal Australian Air Force. Air Commodore Philip Toman, appointed a member of the Order.
Good afternoon.
Thank you, sir.
Cheers. Well, Wedgetail and KC-30s and all that may not mean a lot to some of the folks here, but both of those systems, those platforms, are in intensive use in the Middle East, in what is one of the most hectic and sensitive air environments of a military nature that are going around. And they are both prized by every other ally there, and of course by our own people, because of the success and the sophistication of them. In fact, our air-to-air refuelers are the refueler of choice, and indeed the technical problems that were existing needed to be resolved, and they were. And that Wedgetail, which is the Airborne Early Warning Aeroplane, that was an $800 million fix that had to be arrived at fairly quickly, and you fellows did it. Well done, and you're appropriately awarded this medal.
Thank you, sir.
Cheers.
Your Excellency, we have the first of two couples who are receiving awards this afternoon. Awarded the medal in the General Division, Mr Bruce Adams and Mrs Gloria Adams, for service to the community of Manildra. Mr and Mrs Adams have had a long time involvement in the central west of New South Wales and in particular the community of Manildra. Mr Adams has been a tireless worker, especially within his roles with the Lions Club and through the development of the Manildra aged care units. Mrs Adams has also shared an outstanding commitment to Lions and is a stalwart of the community through roles with the Red Cross and the Country Women's Association. Mr and Mrs Adams have given their time without thought of reward or recognition, and they thoroughly deserve our thanks and acknowledgement today. Firstly, Your Excellency, may I present Mr Bruce Adams, awarded the Medal of the Order.
Now, would you mind just waiting back there? I'm just going to conduct the next part of this opportunity. Ma'am.
Thank you, sir. And now I present Mrs Gloria Adams, awarded the Medal of the Order.
Good afternoon. There we are. Congratulations. Would you like to both come forward now? And we're going to put you in the middle. I'll hang on to this arm. Isn't it wonderful when you see people who've been with each other for so long and they've devoted so much of their lives? Now, you were the chairman of the aged care facility that Lions financed, and you've been very long serving member of the Lions, and you've also been in the Royal Fire Service for a very long time, as I understand it. And you were the postmistress of the Manildra Post Office for a long time. Did I get that right? And you're also, I think, something with the brigade, are you? You're in the Lions Club too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and Rotary. What do you do with your spare time? I give you these wonderful folks, pillars of their community, who as a partnership have made their community that much better off and made us very proud. Congratulations.
Your Excellency, awarded the medal in the General Division is Mr William Bundy for service to the community of Cowra. Mr Bundy's dedication to Cowra through his work as a volunteer and his service to his fellow residents as a business leader is to be commended. He's an extremely generous supporter of many community groups and not only provides financial support but also invests his time and business acumen in all of these activities. Mr Bundy is a selfless member of his community. His remarkable contribution is an example to us all. Mr William Bundy, awarded the Medal of the Order.
Meet you again.
Yeah, good to see you again.
Thank you. Got a smile?
I'm smiling. What about you? Well, we met in Cowra not so very long ago, and it was through the men's shed, as I understand it.
Yes.
We saw each other there. I'm the patron of the men's shed, as you recall.
Yes.
But that's only a little bit of what you do, because you're very, very busy indeed. You support the Red Shield appeal there as well.
Yes.
You do that year in, year out, no doubt.
Yes.
And also you're a mad Magpies supporter, aren't you? The Cowra Magpies. How'd they go?
Oh, well, they won last Sunday.
Well, last Sunday. What about the season?
Well, they're just kicking off now. They've only had 2 games so far.
Do you fancy them?
Last one, 1-1.
Yeah.
So They'll get there.
They'll get there, all right.
Yeah.
All right, well, blokes like you supporting them, they'll get there twice as fast. Well done.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Awarded the medal in the General Division, Mrs Lola Cumins, for service to local government and to the community of Junee. Mrs Cumins has been an inspiration to many in local government and to her community. She's a much-loved figure in Junee Shire and beyond. She blazed a trail for aspiring female councillors to follow, being elected as Junee's first female mayor. Mrs Cumins has given so much of herself. The hours of her time, which she's poured back into the Junee community, is really remarkable, and today we salute her. Mrs Lola Cumins, awarded the Medal of the Order.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Your most recent thing you did was join Rotary. That's a while ago, though, wasn't it? Yeah. But you were a mayor, deputy mayor, councillor, or probably started as a councillor, then deputy mayor in Junee from 80-something until 03, is that right?
1983 to
1983?
2016.
Wow. All that time on council. Hey, we should just pump that up with more air, that one. But you've also been Honorary Secretary of the Riverina Schoolboys Football Association, haven't you?
I have.
Yeah. Are you still doing that, or have you handed that on?
I'm trying to hand that on.
Yeah. You know how it is. Once they get you, they never let you go. You are a worthy recipient of this recognition, and I congratulate you most warmly.
Thank you very much.
Awarded the medal in the General Division, Mrs Katherine Lawson, for service to horticultural history. Mrs Lawson has demonstrated achievement at a very high level, most notably in heritage conservation and cultural heritage management. In the historic house and garden sector, she's made a considerable contribution. Despite retiring, she continues to be available to lead groups, sharing her knowledge of conservation techniques. Mrs Lawson is, in so many respects, the archetype of a good citizen in the community and is very worthy of our recognition today. Mrs Katherine Lawson, awarded the Medal of the Order.
Good afternoon. Yeah. Quiet, aren't they? Yes. Now, you were on the Australiana Fund as a council member, and, for a number of years.
Yes.
And 20, yeah. And that's for those here who may not be aware of it. The Australiana Fund provide, for example, lots of the furnishings in here and at the lodge and places like that. So it's a group of energetic Australians who club together to pick out the furniture and finance it. So it's a fantastic job they do. But Nimittabel's your home. And you're president of the Nimittabel Garden Club, is that right?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
I was, yes.
Yeah, so there's been a usurper.
Yes, it has.
But the other thing you still do, I think, is you play the organ at St Peter's, is that right?
Yes, very badly.
Oh, well, there's nobody here to ask. Any Nimittabel Anglicans here? Congratulations.
Awarded the medal in the General Division, Dr William Maiden, for service to education in the Australian Capital Territory. Dr Maiden has made significant contributions to education, schooling and professional organisations. His wide-ranging achievements are highly regarded and he continues to contribute to the social fabric of the ACT community. He's best described as a quiet achiever who is dedicated to his roles and responsibilities as an educator at all levels. Dr Maiden has demonstrated excellence during his past and present roles, and today he receives our sincere congratulations. Dr William Maiden, awarded the Medal of the Order.
G'day. I nearly fainted when I read your CV. You worked in more junior teaching roles at 2 New South Wales and 4 ACT schools. Then you had a period of time on Christmas Island. And then in your more senior teaching life, you've been at 6 ACT primary and secondary schools. And now you're an adjunct professor at University of Canberra. Boy, what a life. Did you do a lot of homework in that time? Gave a lot of homework, no doubt. In any event, what an example you are to young men and women who would see a career in teaching as being honourable and rewarding. Well, you've rewarded your community, and it's now the community's turn to acknowledge that. Let me just fix that. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Awarded the medal in the General Division, Mr Alfred Mason, for service to the community of Burrawa. Mr Mason has been an active community contributor. As an editor of the local paper, he ensured Burrawa was kept well informed on the important issues affecting the area. His involvement in his community has been through a broad variety of organisations and interests. He's been the instigator of a number of major projects. Mr Mason is a very civic-minded person, always gives sensible and honest advice, and is highly regarded and genuinely admired for his dedication to others. Mr Alfred Mason, awarded the Medal of the Order.
Excellency.
Good afternoon. Me. Now, in your time writing articles for the newspapers, you had this column called Long Blows.
That's correct.
Tell me, what is Long Blows?
We upset a few people.
I won't take it back. Oh, that's just a topical news.
Yeah, just about local happenings and local
I see,
personalities.
yeah. And more recently, you've been involved with the men's shed. Tell me a bit about that.
That was only nominal, really.
Mm.
But the thing that I was mainly involved in was the retirement hostel, which is a great project and very rewarding.
You're not a resident there, are you?
Not yet.
All right, well, they're keeping a special place. You're in a couple of places now, maybe there and up there too.
Yeah, that's right.
Can I just say congratulations, your community is very proud of you, so are we.
Thank you.
Awarded the medal in the General Division, Mrs Jeanette Morris, for service to aged persons in the Australian Capital Territory. Mrs Morris is dedicated to serving others, especially people with special needs, the disabled and the socially isolated. She's a powerful advocate, enabling the delivery of much-needed help and advice from government and community services. Mrs Morris lives the values to which all Australians aspire, recognising and enhancing the dignity of every person and going the extra mile to help others. Mrs Jeanette Morris, awarded the Medal of the Order.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Step this way a little bit, yeah. Now, one of your projects is Rough Diamonds.
That's right.
That's about people who are probably finding it difficult to find a place to live.
No, it's people with special needs,
Yeah.
either with disability, mental health issues, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And what about the village Santantonio?
Yeah. Well, I do voluntary work there with people who, some have dementia, some have special needs such as being looked after.
What about the Belconnen Church of Christ? There's a project there too that you'll...
Yeah, that's the Rough Diamonds, and we have praise and worship there.
Yeah.
And I help with the community meal there sometimes, yes.
A lady who volunteers. There are millions of them in Australia, aren't we
They
lucky?
are.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awarded the medal in the General Division, Mrs Margaret O'Neill, for service to local government and to the community of the Goulburn region. Mrs O'Neill is a champion for the community of Goulburn. She's undertaken her civic duties with perseverance and has earned the admiration of many in her community. When she was first elected to council, there were few women in local government. Today, she is New South Wales' longest-serving female councillor. Mrs O'Neill has made an outstanding contribution to the life of her city, and she deserves this high honour and our nation's praise today. Mrs Margaret O'Neill awarded the Medal of the Order.
I'm very well. How are you? Good. There we go. You started in about 1983 and you've been councillor, deputy mayor, then there were council amalgamations and I think you served on. Yep. But you've remained patron of about, I counted it up, about 15 various activities in Goulburn, all kinds of clubs, right? Hockey, yep, tick. Yep. Racing club, pony club. Yep. Football.
Rugby league.
Rugby league, yeah. I'm the patron of rugby. There's only one of them, right? Yeah. We won't talk about it. But virtually everything that needed a patron, there you were. And I have no doubt that you're not just a patron quietly in the background. You're a patron who contributes and participates, which seems to be the hallmark of your public life. And I think it's wonderful that the community, they're going to be overjoyed that you've been recognised in this way. We're very proud of you. Congratulations.
Awarded the medal in the General Division, Mr David Sinclair, for service to veterans and their families. Mr Sinclair has been a significant contributor to the Returned and Services League of Australia in his role as Honorary National Treasurer. His well-considered advice to the National Board has been essential to its work, especially on major undertakings such as the relocation of the RSL headquarters. Mr Sinclair can always be relied upon to do his job commendably. His unwavering commitment and consummate professionalism are worthy of our recognition. Mr David Sinclair awarded the Medal of the Order.
Good afternoon.
We met before.
We have. You had a long career in the Department of Human Services. Are you still working there?
Treasury.
Oh, we'll shudder when we hear Treasury. Look, this honorary treasurer's job has been a magnificent contribution that you've made to the veterans' cause. But I'm particularly interested in the Mike Fitzpatrick group, where you are the administrator of that, and I understand it's to address the problem of people who acquire HIV through blood transfusions.
That's exactly right.
And I think that that's such a stark and awful prospect that somebody thinking they were getting very necessary assistance for their health could find themselves devastated in that way. And the fact that there's somebody out there recognising that issue and seeking to ensure people know about it and that things can be done to stop it.
You don't miss much, do you?
No, I try not to, but that was remarkable, and you're remarkable. Well done.
Thank you.
Your Excellency, we now have the second couple who will be receiving acknowledgement this afternoon. Awarded the medal in the General Division are Mrs Barbara Smith and Mr Bruce Smith for service to the community of the Eurobodalla region. Mr and Mrs Smith were both born and bred in Moruya and have dedicated their lives to volunteering and helping others. Mr Smith has fought innumerable fires, protected hundreds of properties and saved countless lives. He shows no sign of slowing down. Mrs Smith's service is quite unique through both its longevity and her dedication. She's been a catering volunteer helping to feed firefighters for nearly half a century. Mr and Mrs Smith's caring approach extraordinary vision and commitment over years of selfless community service are an inspiration to us all. May I present firstly Mrs. Barbara Smith, awarded the Medal of the Order.
Congratulations. Thank you. I'll just get you to pause here.
And Your Excellency, may I now present Mr. Bruce Smith to be awarded the Medal of the Order.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
And we'll do a photo first and then we'll put the lady in the middle. Yeah. There we go. Bryce Courtney wrote one of his famous books called Four Fires. It was set in Victoria, but it could be set anywhere in rural or regional Australia where bushfires are a scourge. And in that he depicted the Australian community through the ranks of the fire service down there, but here we'll talk about the fire service here. It's the same sort of people, folks like these folks. You're the captain of the catering brigade, aren't you? So let there be a call out when it's going to cross a meal time. These ladies turn up and the men and women who are in the firefighting brigade know that they will be cared for, that their food will be there, they'll be refreshed, ready to go back onto the fire field. So you as the sort of fellow who's been at the leadership of the firefighting service down there, the rural fire service for a while, and you as his wonderful foil in this regard, or a leader yourself, well, the community salutes you. Well done, both of you. Thank you. Thank you.
Awarded the medal in the Military Division, Commander Stephen Reid, for meritorious performance of duty in the field of Navy mine warfare command and leadership. Commander Reid has demonstrated inspired leadership in numerous mine warfare and clearance diving command positions at sea and ashore. He's made a significant contribution to the Royal Australian Navy's maritime mission. His successful management of complex and demanding projects is due to his professionalism and unique multi-agency and industry collaboration. Commander Reid's outstanding dedication and meritorious service have brought great credit to the Navy and the Australian Defence Force. Commander Stephen Reid awarded the Medal of the Order.
Okay. Oop, the pin came off. We can fix that. Be careful, I'll put it through the uniform, that's the easiest thing. I once did this to a chap's chest. Yeah.
I'm sure he didn't.
You need to fix that when you get back. But I want to say about you that you've been CO of 3 ships, or 2 ships and an establishment, and you are the guru for mine hunter coastals. You know all about that. So highly technical and quite a restricted group of experts in the Navy, but so vital. We know that if our harbours are closed, Australia throttles. So mine hunter coastals are indeed our insurance against that. You've been so important in raising and promoting that modern capability, and we're very proud to see that you've been recognised today. Well done.
Thank you.
Your Excellency, we turn to Distinguished Service Decorations. Awarded the Distinguished Service Medal, Colonel Ashley Collingburn, for distinguished leadership in warlike operations as the Training Task Unit Commander within Task Group Taji 1 in Iraq in 2015. Colonel Collingburn led the development and delivery of training that has significantly enhanced the warfighting capabilities of the Iraqi Army. He designed a training package to exclusively focus on the critical training deficiencies of Iraqi army formations. His analysis and foresight were key to the successes of the group. Colonel Collingburn's achievements have set the foundation for training teams to build upon. He's profoundly contributed to military relations between the Iraqi forces and the Australian Army. Colonel Ashley Collingburn awarded the Distinguished Service Medal.
Now, when you took on this job, the Iraqi army was in a bad way. There was indifferent training, indifferent administration. They were subjected to enormous stresses. And what they were crying out for were experts who would give them both training and confidence. And I think the 76th Iraqi Brigade is a paradigm for what you and your troops did. You trained thousands of Iraqis there, 400 NCOs, but thousands of leaders and their teams. So 2 brigades, 3 battalions. You did all that with your troops at the Taji Training Group. And the 76th Brigade is now, they're gangbusters. They do very well indeed. You can be proud for what you've done on Australia's behalf to help those people to take care of themselves. Major contribution. Well done.
We now turn to Conspicuous Service Decorations. Awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross, Colonel Malcolm Brick, for outstanding achievement in the management of logistic assets and support as Commander Joint Logistics Unit East. Colonel Brick is an outstanding and inspirational commander who led his team through significant change. His vision and leadership generated substantial savings for Defence and shaped inventory management into the future. His work resulted in major changes to business considerations, and he delivered an enduring platform for logistics reform in Defence. Colonel Brick's performance epitomises Army's values and is in the finest traditions of the Army and the Australian Defence Force. Colonel Malcolm Brick, awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross.
How are you? Congratulations. Thanks. I can see from your ribbons there that you've served in East Timor, but in particular, because of the award you're receiving today, we have to go to your organisation of that vital warehousing arrangement for Army. And you were dealing with $2.5 billion worth of stores, which doesn't sound much to a lot of you, but keep adding up the billions and you get to serious money. What you did there was both necessary but highly important that it be done in a way where the Army and the ADF could continue to draw on inventory and to add to inventory while you were reorganising. And you achieved millions of dollars worth of savings also in that. It's no wonder that the Army seeks to recognise you in this way, and I'm honoured to officiate today. Well done. Thanks.
Awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross, Lieutenant Colonel Lara Bullpit-Troy, for outstanding achievement as the Staff Officer Grade 1, Operations and Plans, Headquarters 1st Joint Movement Group. Colonel Bullpit-Troy is an officer of the highest calibre, who is an integral part of joint operations planning teams. She's displayed outstanding leadership and devotion to duty in the development and execution of movement and force projection plans for all Australian Defence Force operations and major exercises. Colonel Bullpit-Troy's achievements have brought credit upon herself, Joint Operations Command and the Australian Army. Lieutenant Colonel Lara Bullpit-Troy, awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross.
Good afternoon, Lara. Congratulations. Well, it seems like you're in the centre of the action all the time. You supported the drawdown out of Tarancot. You did that marvellously well. You then were supporting all kinds of other ADF operations closer to home in the terms of the movement and the movement of people and things. And then you did Kandahar more recently, is that right? So in all senses, you are the sort of professional around which so much operational planning involves or revolves. As any general will tell you that no tactical dream of a plan can work until you've got the logistics right, and you're one of the people who puts it right. Well done.
Awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross, Lieutenant Colonel David McGarry, for outstanding achievement as Commander Australian Contingent with the Multinational Force and Observers, Sinai Peninsula, Egypt. Colonel McGarry demonstrated outstanding leadership in planning and coordinating operations in an increasingly uncertain and volatile environment. His efforts enabled significant reconfiguration and redistribution of force strength. This directly contributed to improved management, heightened protection of personnel and upgraded operational practices. Colonel McGarry's efforts enhanced the standing of the Australian contribution to the multinational force and observers mission in the Sinai Peninsula. Lieutenant Colonel David McGarry awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross.
Hello, David. Now, the multinational force and observers have sat in the Sinai Desert there over time with people coming and going all the time. So at your turn there, you were the commander of the Australian contingent in the MFO. You're also the Deputy Chief of Operations. And this was at a time when you had to deploy from one camp to another. That is a new site, basically. And in that time, the insurgent or dissident activity, violent activity, started to increase, and that involved people from the MFO being at threat. And through all of that, you performed magnificently. You can be very proud of what you did for that international force, and in doing so, keeping Australians safe. Well done.
Thanks, Chief.
Awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross, Colonel Katherine Ann Stewart, for outstanding devotion to duty as Australia's Defence Attaché in Baghdad in support of Operation Okra. Colonel Stewart demonstrated superior strategic acumen and communication skills in support of the Australian contribution to the coalition response in Iraq. Her careful and empathetic engagement with key stakeholders established the mutual understanding and goodwill that continues to underpin operational cooperation between the Australian Defence Force and the Iraqi security forces. Through her actions, Colonel Stewart has directly enhanced operational outcomes in the Middle East area of operations and are in the finest traditions of the Australian Army and the Australian Defence Force. Colonel Katherine Ann Stewart awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross.
Hello, how are you going?
Thank you.
You joined the Army in 1986, 31 years, congratulations. But I wanted to particularly refer to the fact that you were, after you were CO7 SIG and you got promoted, you went to Baghdad as our Defence Attaché. And then you went to Amman in Jordan.
Yes, sir.
Then you went back to Baghdad. Did you leave something there? But in doing that, you have been right at the centre of some of Australia's most sensitive engagements or involvements in the Middle East. We rely so much on the Jordanians for their goodwill in certain ways. And of course, in Baghdad, we have to have the closest possible relationship with the emerging Iraqi security forces. So in that respect, you've done extremely well, and we're glad you're back in one piece.
Thanks very much, sir.
All the best.
Well
Oh, we haven't had our photo yet. There we go. Lucky you reminded me.
Awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross, Wing Commander Amanda Leslie, for outstanding devotion to duty in Air Force Reserve Personnel Administration and Management. Wing Commander Leslie has displayed outstanding dedication, professionalism and conspicuous leadership in delivering a broad array of improvements in reserve personnel administration and management. Her analysis of the issues, effective consultation with stakeholders and meticulous development to match the Commander's needs with available personnel was a resounding success. Wing Commander Leslie is an officer of impeccable character whose extraordinary devotion to the advancement of the Air Force Reserves has benefited innumerable Air Force members. Wing Commander Amanda Leslie awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross.
Good afternoon. Yeah. Now, you joined quite a while ago, 1980?
I did.
Education officer?
I am.
Okay. Not anymore?
No, I'm.
No, yeah, right. Because you're going to give me some homework, I thought. But this project that you've been working on for Air Force, there's nothing mundane about it, because Air Force has evolved in its tempo of operations to a point where reservists are hugely important, qualified reservists who can be drawn back in for a period of time to meet need. I think Air Force does it certainly as well as the other services, but it is so important for Air Force to get that right so that they can continue to produce the most excellent capability that they do. And you've been at the centre of that. I have no doubt this is your service saying, well done and keep it up, and so am I.
Thank you.
Awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal, Lieutenant Colonel Damien Drain, for meritorious achievement in the field of capital facilities and infrastructure project development. Colonel Drain has successfully delivered critical capability transformations for Defence. His ability to manage multiple concurrent projects with vastly differing scopes and limited resources is reflective of his exceptional leadership. He's achieved this while empowering his staff to produce excellent results. Colonel Drain's selfless dedication in the performance of his duties has brought great credit upon himself, the Australian Army and the Department of Defence. Lieutenant Colonel Damien Drain, awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal.
Hello, Damien. Now, you haven't been sitting around Canberra endlessly. You've been to East Timor, Iraq and South Sudan. South Sudan, okay. I'll talk to you later on about that place. But I think really the thing that caught my attention off your CV, apart from your operational service, which is outstanding, is that you've been working on joint counter-IED matters. And of course, we all know from our gallant but sad history in places where people blow each other up, that's been the major cause of casualties for the Australian Defence Force. So everybody involved in that Herculean task of deriving countermeasures and protections and growing with the threat, they are making a huge contribution. So congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal, Wing Commander Anthony Grimmer, for meritorious achievement in engineer and technical workforce management in the Royal Australian Air Force. Wing Commander Grimmer has produced a range of improvements in the management of Air Force's engineering and technical workforces. He was incisive in the development and implementation of workforce management plans. This initiative matched individual skills and experience to specific employment requirements. Wing Commander Grimmer's tireless efforts have directly enhanced operational capability and reflect the values of the Australian Defence Force. Wing Commander Anthony Grimmer, awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal.
Hello. 36 years service?
That's right, sir.
And you're the Director of Engineer and Technical, or you were? You were. Now, if John Borghetti's out there somewhere, if there's a Qantas guy, you're all guilty of taking Air Force people, and this fellow is there to make sure you don't. You have to manage the retention of these hugely valuable 5,000 or thereabouts personnel in the Air Force who are the people who keep the show running, keep the planes in the air. And you've done that magnificently. So this is your Air Force saying to you, thank you for what you do. And because we need an Air Force which is vibrant and successful at all times, I say thank you as well. Cheers.
Your Excellency, we turn to Meritorious Service Awards. Awarded the Public Service Medal, Mrs Karen Ernst, for outstanding public service to community health in the Australian Capital Territory. Mrs Ernst is an advocate for the importance of educating nursing professionals and the Australian public about breast cancer. In her role, she provides education and support in relation to treatment options and translates medical language and specialist information for patients. Mrs Ernst consistently goes above and beyond to provide the best level of support and care to her patients and their families, and has had a positive impact on the lives of many in the Canberra region. Mrs Karen Ernst, awarded the Public Service Medal.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Now, you're going to laugh. You're a metastatic breast care nurse as well as being an author. You wrote, tell me about the book you wrote.
I just had a chapter in the book.
Tell me about it.
It's a book to increase knowledge about breast cancer.
Yep.
And so there's a chapter dedicated to the work that I do, and a few of the patients told their stories.
And you are active in the Jane McGrath Foundation.
Yeah, I'm one of the McGrath breast care nurses.
Okay. And you've been on TV a few times.
Yeah.
Well, you're on again, you know. This is being filmed.
Yeah.
But the work you do is so evocatively put before Australians, but we must never say, oh, it's all happening. We must continue to listen and learn and act, and you help with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Awarded the Public Service Medal, Ms Sandra Georges, for outstanding public service to the law and to the community of the Australian Capital Territory. Ms Georges has made an outstanding contribution throughout her career in the ACT Parliamentary Council's office within the Justice and Community Safety Directorate. Under her leadership, the office systematised many of its work practices to achieve a consistently high standard of drafting and publishing, and she looked for new ways to innovate and improve work practices. Ms Georges has shaped substantial areas of territory law and practice, and her achievements exemplify exceptional and dedicated public service. Ms Sandra Georges, awarded the Public Service Medal.
Hello there. Congratulations. Now, you've not only been working within the justice, safety and community justice area, but you've also been acting DG on a number of occasions, haven't you?
I have, yes.
Yeah. Are you acting DG at the moment?
No, in fact, I've recently retired.
Oh, okay, all right. Oh, somebody will grab you, don't you worry. And the other thing that I remember reading about you was that you achieved pretty good, high respect actually, for the Reconciliation Action Plan within the ACT government. That's a wonderful thing. Have you left that behind, or are you going to continue that sort of work in your retirement?
I hope to continue something along those
Okay.
lines.
Well, you're the typical person who sees a need and just jumps in, so well done.
Thank you so much.
Awarded the Public Service Medal, Mr Ian Hill, for outstanding public service to the tourism sector in the Australian Capital Territory. Mr Hill provides outstanding leadership to the tourism industry in Canberra. He has envisaged and then implemented marketing and partnership programs that have grown the value of tourism to the ACT economy. He's been instrumental in securing the first direct international flight services to the capital and ensured the business case presented to airlines was compelling and based on strong research. Mr Hill's foresight and creativity are crucial to achieving economic opportunities for our region now and into the future. Mr Ian Hill, awarded the Public Service Medal.
Hello. Just take it out of there. Now, good. So you've been the Director of Visit Canberra since 2012. And you've had a lot of people come through the door since your programs have been on foot. There's also brochures that you do. What's the 101 brochure?
It's all about social
101's about social media. You can't quite hear him, but he's exploded Canberra into the digital age in terms of outreach for people who want to tour here. But your most important role has been a player and captain of the Mount Lofty Cricket Club. I congratulate you.
Thank you very much.
This is a man who helps drive the development of the human capital and visual beauty of Canberra. Well done.
Awarded the Public Service Medal, Ms Roxanne Kelly, for outstanding public service in the areas of public sector reform and governance, particularly in the defence portfolio. Ms Kelly has made a substantial contribution to the reform efforts that are underway to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the Department of Defence. She's established a governance framework that informs senior defence leaders and has established a regular routine of engagement to ensure the tempo of reform is maintained. Ms Kelly's vision and dedication to public duty will have a significant impact on changing Defence into a higher performing organisation now and into the future. Ms Roxanne Kelly, awarded the Public Service Medal.
Good afternoon. So this first principles review went from you and your colleagues to the CDF and the Secretary with 76 recommendations.
That's right.
And they agreed 75.
The government did, yes.
Yeah. What happened to the other one?
It was a bit controversial, apparently.
Don't you worry. Never in the history of cats has anybody agreed 75 out of 76 recommendations. That's wonderful. But now you have the job of implementing them.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's a wonderful thing. You can attack that with the passion and the conviction of somebody who thought that they missed the 76. They should have got that one as well. The other 75 are in your hands, and we feel they're very capable. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awarded the Public Service Medal, Mr Patrick McInerney, for outstanding public service in the protection of the ozone layer and the climate system. Mr McInerney has achieved significant policy changes internationally and in Australia to phase out ozone-depleting substances and reduce emissions of synthetic greenhouse gases. Key to these achievements is his ability to build strong and trusted relationships with foreign governments, United Nations organisations, Australian industries and environmental groups. Mr McInerney is proud, committed and has a strong reputation as a fair and impartial facilitator. He's a credit to the Australian Public Service and the nation. Mr Patrick McInerney, awarded the Public Service Medal.
Hello there.
Hello.
Just front up there you go. Now, hold on. Now that Montreal Protocol is generally regarded as the best ever international environmental related protocol.
Okay, number one.
The best treaty. So that's a fantastic thing, and you were so centrally involved in the development of it. And now I think you've got the chairmanship of 3 committees that are involved. They'll be crucial in the evolution of the protocol to keep it relevant. So this is a wonderful testament to your skill and your deep expertise. So we thank you very much for your efforts for Australia and for the international community.
Thank you very much.
Awarded the Australian Fire Service Medal, Mr John Cullen, for distinguished service to the community of the far south coast through the Rural Fire Service. Mr Cullen is celebrating his 40th year in rural bush firefighting. He's spent a lifetime dedicated to the protection of property and the community. He's always encouraged and challenged his volunteers and staff to develop their skills. He leads by example, recently taking advanced courses in incident control and management. Mr Cullen is a quiet achiever, an effective mentor and the epitome of a New South Wales Rural Fire Service member. Mr John Cullen, awarded the Australian Fire Service Medal.
Thank you. You joined as a brigade member in 1977?
Yep.
And you're now the district manager for the far south coast. But in your time, you've been to fires all over the place, haven't you?
Yeah, right throughout the state,
Yep.
into Victoria.
Yep. Armidale.
Armidale.
Yeah, and how far down into Victoria?
Down to Barnsdale on that top end of Victoria.
Yep. When we speak to this community, as Lynn and I managed to do when we travel around Australia, we're always bumping into folks who are in his position. And they are, of course, wonderfully local community members, but they travel wherever there's a fire front and people like them needing a hand. You look at people, if you want to say that there is an heroic movement in Australia, look anywhere within the emergency services, not least these fellas, and you'll find them. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Awarded the Australian Fire Service Medal, Mr Richard Maloney, for distinguished service to the community of Canberra through ACT Fire and Rescue. Mr Maloney has led a number of significant projects as a commander with ACT Fire and Rescue over many years. His skill and tenacity has been instrumental in the delivery of a recruitment campaign as part of the Women in Emergency Services strategy, which aimed to increase the diversity of the service. Mr Maloney's enduring commitment to his community and to women in firefighting is to be commended. Mr Richard Maloney, awarded the Australian Fire Service Medal.
Well done.
Thank you.
So one of Canberra's own, you joined in 1991, was that right?
Correct.
And now you're in the rank of commander.
Acting superintendent at the moment.
Acting superintendent. Okay. I wanted to know something. I saw it in your CV. I didn't understand it, but I have to find out from you. What's the Bronto 44 something aerial capability?
That is our aerial appliance, so it's it'll get us 44 metres off the ground and fight fires and provide...
It's a ladder.
It's a telescopic boom with a ladder.
Ah, okay. It's not an aeroplane.
No,
I said aerial appliance. I thought that was to conceal it from the Chief of the Air Force.
No, it's hardly concealed.
But it is state-of-the-art stuff.
Correct. Yeah.
Yep. Were you involved when the devastating bushfires occurred in the early 2000s?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 And how's your program of women in emergency services travelling?
It's travelling well. We're hopefully going to recruit again later this year, so we'd be looking forward to more and more women becoming part of the service.
Well, more power to you, and we hope that that's very successful.
Thank you very much.
Awarded the Australian Fire Service Medal, Mr Trevor Penfold, for distinguished service to the community of New South Wales to the Rural Fire Service. Mr Penfold is well known and respected within the New South Wales Rural Fire Service. His volunteer work is over and above that expected of anyone. He's provided endless hours of his time assisting other volunteers and the wider community in times of adverse weather conditions and during dangerous incidents. Mr Penfold represents the very best of his community. He's selfless, never seeking acknowledgement. Today, we give him deserved recognition. Mr Trevor Penfold, awarded the Australian Fire Services Medal.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Peter.
I'll just put that on and then here we go. Thanks. Now, you've been through the ranks of the fire service. Come over here so they can see you. They want to admire you.
This way?
Yeah, that'll do. Yeah. You don't turn your back. No, I just wanted to ask you, how many times have you been reacted with you and your brigade to fires over the years?
Over the years, oh goodness me, I
Lost count?
lost count.
Yep. Which was the most serious?
We had a shed fire that burnt 1,800 sheep once.
That's
It was
it.
pretty
Yeah.
serious.
Yep.
We had numerous fires in national parks
Yep.
and nature reserves. Yeah.
You're a testing officer now as well, aren't you? You do testing on young men and women who want to be in the fire service.
Yes.
Yeah. How many? Are we getting plenty of kids to join?
Amazingly, we're getting quite a few young ones that are involved. Yeah,
Yep.
the more fires we have, the more involved they want to get.
Sure, especially if there's, especially if they know somebody closely, or even their own place was under threat. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. But
Well, there should be so many more of you, but we're so pleased we've got you. Well done.
thanks very much, Peter.
Your Excellency, we now turn to Bravery Decorations. Awarded the Bravery Medal, Mr Joseph Nugent and Mr Daniel Simpson, and awarded the Commendation for Brave Conduct, Mr Daniel Ephraimson. In the early afternoon of 3 April 2015, Mr Nugent, Mr Simpson and Mr Ephraimson assisted in the rescue of several people after a boat capsized at the Narooma Bar in Narooma, New South Wales. Mr Nugent, Mr Simpson and Mr Ephraimson and 2 other friends were surfing at South Bar Beach, Narooma, and witnessed a small fishing boat attempting to cross the Narooma Bar. The swell was around 3 metres high. A wave coming from behind the vessel swamped it, causing it to capsize and throwing all 5 passengers overboard. 2 were thrown clear of the boat, 1 was clinging to the front of the vessel, and 2 were trapped underneath the upturned boat. Mr Nugent and Mr Simpson quickly located a passenger in the water, and he was assisted to shore by one of the surfers. Mr Nugent and Mr Simpson could hear screaming coming from under the bow of the boat. They both swum under the vessel and located a young female who was trapped in an air pocket and, due to her life jacket inflating, was unable to escape. They repeatedly went under the boat to try to rescue the victim. On about their 6th attempt, they were able to grab her, pulling her down and out from under the vessel. They then assisted her to shore. Meanwhile, Mr Ephraimson and 2 other surfers located another passenger hanging onto the front of the capsized vessel and 2 other passengers in the surf nearby. Together they guided the 3 victims back to the shore. With the help of bystanders, they observed and supported the passengers until emergency services arrived. For their actions, Mr Joseph Nugent and Mr Daniel Simpson awarded the Bravery Medal, and for his actions, Mr Daniel Ephraimson awarded the Commendation for Brave Conduct.
Now, you stand there, please. And join your colleague. We'll do the photos first, and then we want to cheer you on. I can assure you, well done. You want the first one? Yeah. Now, face these people who want to see what 3 heroes look like. There's no frivolity in that remark by me, because the community deserves to see those people who are minding their own business when some event occurs which puts to the question, what will they do? And we ask that question of ourselves, what would we do? Under such circumstances, would we say it's very dangerous but we have to help? Or would prudence say to us, oh, that's so, I hope they'll be all right? These men did not flinch, did not hesitate. They went in and they have saved lives under circumstances in which they could have been seriously injured or indeed killed themselves. So they have been justly now today recognised for their bravery. It's something we admire about our community, and we certainly admire these 3 men. Well done, chaps.
Awarded the Group Bravery Citation, Mr David Stewart Thompson. In the early morning of 14 February 2007, 7 Australian skiers, including Mr Stuart Thompson, rescued and evacuated another group of skiers after an avalanche on Maridaki Mountain in northern Japan. Mr Stuart Thompson and 5 members of the Thredbo Ski Patrol Association set off to explore the snow-covered Maridaki Mountain above the Hokkaido resort in northern Japan. Within 15 minutes of leaving a cable car, the weather deteriorated dramatically. The men were faced with a storm consisting of a 120 km/h winds, a large front, snow falling horizontally, and temperatures of -20 degrees. As their guide led the way, Mr Stuart Thompson and the other men observed a group of skiers kneeling over a body in the snow. They approached the scene where they could see evidence of a recent avalanche. Some of the group were injured, other members were dazed and disoriented. The Australians assessed the situation and quickly began digging with shovels before seeing another buried skier. The Australians located additional buried skiers who were suffering from numerous injuries and in some cases were already deceased. They performed a variety of first aid responses while constantly aware of the threat of repeated avalanches. The men continued searching and rescuing victims for a lengthy period of time. Despite their own exhaustion and limited effective communication with the survivors, Mr Stuart Thompson and the others built ice shelters around some of the injured in order to provide protection from the elements whilst awaiting further assistance to arrive. Once emergency services team reached them, the Australians assisted in escorting the injured down the snow-covered slope. And today, for his actions, Mr David Stuart Thompson is awarded the Group Bravery Citation.
Hello. Congratulations.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, this is another epic story in the sense that it shows us, doesn't it, that we can be proud of the bravery and selflessness of our fellow Australians in circumstances which don't relate to a geography or a nationality. This was bravery pure and simple. These were expert skiers. These were people who understood that what had just occurred was a natural event which could have a follow-on, a further avalanche, that going into the avalanche field would have high risks, noise, or even just the instability of the snowfield there could promote further and very dangerous avalanches. Nonetheless, they went in and did their job as they saw it. They were people who understood the risks, and yet they went in, regardless of the identity of who had been hurt or where it was. They went in simply because they felt it was the right thing to do, the brave thing to do. We're very proud of you.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this afternoon's investiture ceremony. I now invite the Governor-General to address us.
I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which we meet, the Ngunnawal people, and pay my respects to their elders past and present, and to elders from other communities who may be with us today. So today we've continued what we started this morning, recognising those who, through their outstanding determination and commitment, have made a wonderful contribution to Australia. It was a privilege to invest those being honoured, and I am delighted to see how many friends and family have gathered today and to see the pride and joy on your faces as you see your loved one properly being acknowledged. Lynn and I offer our deepest congratulations and respect and admiration to all those who've been awarded today. You didn't do it. You didn't do what you did that attracted this award for personal gain. You did it for the service of others and for our nation. The nation is fortunate to benefit from your passion and your skills and your dedication, and today it's therefore fitting that the nation honours you. Honours actually help to define, encourage and reinforce our national goals and ideals. They identify people like you as role models, and we think that this entirely appropriately gives the succeeding generations something to aspire to. And I'm delighted in that regard there are some youngsters with us. To the recipients I say, you join the company of men and women whose actions have enriched our community and our lives. You've got a commitment to excellence. It may not be excellence in the sense of some kind of measurable achievement, but it is you give your all for something good, and you do, and that is excellence. And you've provided, therefore, a person that your fellow citizens can revere and admire. So on behalf of all Australians, I thank you and congratulate you for your contribution. You do motivate us, you do inspire all of us. I hope that you'll remember this day as a day when your nation said thank you and well done. Congratulations.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll now ask the recipients if they could make their way out under the support of our staff with their excellencies for a photograph on the state entrance steps. Could other guests just remain seated for 2 minutes and then we'll escort you outside for refreshments. Thank you.